Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Manisha and I'm back with yet another video. Well, today's video is very special. Today is the first episode of the book talk and I have somebody really very special. So today's guest is none other than Tariro from Zimbabwe, and she's a YouTuber and a lot more than that. So please help me welcome my first guest on the book talk. Hi Tariro, how have you been?
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me. I've been good. I've been great. How have you been?
I'm good. I'm good too. Thank you so much for saying yes. It really means a lot. I was actually posting so many videos, not many, but every week I was posting books that I've read so far. I wanted to share with people because I have learned so many things from these books. So, you know what happened?
Yeah,
People were commenting, they were
yeah.
suggesting some other writers, okay? And this struck with me that, oh my God, I don't know all these writers. So the thought came in from there. First person that came to my mind was you.
Oh, that
People,
is so amazing.
before you talk about the book or maybe books that you're going to talk about, I would like to ask you one simple question that I keep asking myself.
Uh-huh.
What is your relationship with books?
Wow, that's a great question. So, my relationship with books really started when I was young. Like, when you're going to school, you start reading books. And for me, books made me a really curious person. I really wanted to learn more. I remember the first book that I read, not one of the first few books that I read was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And my mind, making aware of things that are, going up in around the world. So for me, I think my relationship with books is a pretty good one. Although I will say I haven't been really good for the past few months, but I think it's a healthy one. Let's leave
Healthy
it
one.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Books always leave you with that one impression. It might not be a lot of lessons, but like there's that one lesson that books leave you. And for me, it has made me grown as a person because
Which are the books that you are going to talk about today?
he wrote A Thousand Splendid Suns. This is the author, but like I have a different book with me right now, but I'm going to
Okay.
talk about A Thousand Splendid Suns. And
Okay.
this one has a bit of a controversial topic,
Uh-huh.
but I'll tell you why I really love it. But I want to start with this one by
Sure.
Khalid Hosseini. I don't have the book with me, but he also wrote this book called And the Mountains Echoed. Let me tell you a funny story before I get into the book. This
Okay.
A Thousand Splendid Suns, while I only discovered about Khalid Hosseini when I was in India with one of my
Okay.
friends, actually. Yeah. And she was like, no, you should. We went to a bookshop and she was like, no, you should try out Khalid Hosseini. He has such amazing stories.
Right.
He's such a good author and his writing style is amazing. So
Right.
I gave it a go. I bought the book, A Thousand Splendid Suns. It's a
Okay.
huge book. It's about 400 pages or more. I'm not too sure, but it's a big book. It's an
Okay.
amazing story. Okay, so A Thousand Splendid Suns is about two women, two young girls. It starts from the 1960s up to the
Okay.
2000s, about two women. So it's two main characters, Mariam and Laila.
Okay.
So the book is split into four parts, but I'll just briefly explain the book and let
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know like what I
Please
loved
do.
about the book.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start with Mariam. Mariam is a 15-year-old. That's where the book starts. She's a 15-year-old illegitimate child set in Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, an illegitimate child is called a harimi, meaning in English terms, it means a bastard. Like, so her mother was a maid who was impregnated by a businessman called Jalil.
Okay.
So the story goes on to how Mariam grew up with a mother, but her father did not stay with her at all because he had another family. He had three wives. And then we go on to the other main character. Her name is Laila.
Okay.
Laila stays in Kabul. And at that time in Afghanistan, there was a civil war with the Taliban. There were a lot of civil wars. There was that big party that wanted to take control of the country.
Right.
So Laila stayed with her parents, and she was also 15 years old. That this is like 20 years later on, maybe in the 1990s. Then, and Laila's father was very different from Mariam's father.
Okay.
Laila's father really wanted her to get educated. He was, pro gender equality, a person who
Wow.
really wanted his daughter to get educated. I want to read you a quote from his father that he
Yeah, sure,
said,
sure.
I know you're still young, but I want you to understand and learn this now. He said, marriage can wait, education cannot. You are a very bright girl. Truly, you are. You can be anything you want to be, Lila. I know this about you, and I also know that when this war is over, Afghanistan is going to need you as much as its men, maybe even more. Because a
Yes,
society has no chance of success if its women are uneducated. Lila, no chance. I really loved
wow.
this quote because he really wanted his daughter to understand that there's more to marriage,
Yes.
especially if you're this young. You're
You
only
know,
15, 13 years old.
exactly.
There's more to
And
marriage.
yeah, and
Mm,
the thing we were talking about earlier, that there's one thing, maybe one thing in a story, that stays with you and you
mm.
want to
Yes,
imbibe and, take it with you. So that was that one thing, I guess.
absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Right.
so and Lila, she really kept these words from her father, and she really took those words to heart. But what happened was this: it was during a civil war when this was all happening, and Lila could no longer go to continue with school at that time because people were being attacked, bombs were being thrown at their houses, and what happened was this: now that Lila, now they had to run away to Pakistan with their family because the war was getting intense and it was now in Kabul. So Laila's family, mother and father, decided to escape and go to Pakistan for a safer place for him and the family. The day before they were supposed to leave, Laila's home was destroyed by the bombs because the Taliban had now we're now in Kabul. So both Lila's parents passed away. They died on the spot there, and Lila was now injured.
Oh,
And this is where Mariam comes in. This is where Mariam and Rashid comes in because they literally stayed in the same neighborhood. And
okay.
Rashid, remember, as I said on, Rashid was struggling to have a child, a boy, a male child specifically. He wanted a boy. Laila, because she was so vulnerable at that moment, her parents had passed away, and Rashid was like, you know what? I can marry you and I'll take care of you. Laila had no option but to get married. So now Rashid had two wives, Laila
Oh,
and Mariam, which really created a very tense relationship with between Laila and Mariam. This relationship became so toxic. She was abused. Laila was abused. She was
oh my God.
Mariam did not want Laila to go through what she had gone through just because she actually had a baby and she had a baby girl. And Mariam and Laila, that's when they developed their friendship. They became so close, and their aim was to run away from Rashid. The laws at that time in Afghanistan were more in favor of men than women.
Sheila, you also get to know the things you mentioned in the book about
Mm,
the law that you were talking about Afghanistan. Though it was a fiction, but it was so real.
mm.
So as a reader, we get the
Oh,
glimpse
yeah.
of the stories that what was happening in the lives of all these people when this was actually going on.
Absolutely.
So rather than picking up a fiction that is going to only
Absolutely.
entertain you, educating ourselves with
Mm,
the
mm.
fictions is really the best way, I think.
For me, the reason why I absolutely love this book, and I think I would recommend it to anyone, is if you're a curious person who wants to learn more about other cultures, if you want to learn more about what's happening in the world, because sometimes the media can say one thing and it's not true, but someone who was born there, someone who may not have experienced that, but like may have seen this going through their aunts, their uncles, or
Exactly.
or
Yeah.
it's this history that they were being told by their grandmothers. They can really put it into words, even though if it's fiction, they can really put it into words with things that are happening in their society. So what I loved about Khalid's book was that it really showed me what used to happen or still is happening in Afghanistan in
Still
a
is,
very
yeah, it's still happening.
sad way. Yeah, in a
Yeah.
very sad way because and one of the issues that I literally noticed from the get-go was, the where how women have no equal rights, had no or have no equal rights in their society, secondary than men, like how a patriarchal society can take over and like really not give women any opportunities at all. That's how I saw this book from the onset. And it really, I saw that recurring and recurring with these two women in particular. So that is how I saw the story with Mariam. It was so sad, and I saw that Mariam, in some way, she didn't want Laila to have that life, even though Laila was not her child. She was the second wife to her husband. She really had that heart for her so that she doesn't have to experience everything that she experienced from the onset. So I thought that, in as much as women are called strong, it is so sad that she had to be very strong in ways that she didn't need to be strong. She had to be, she had to be strong because society wants her to be strong. Society wants her to, face things and endure pain and endure suffering because society requires that of women. And it was so sad to just see that women today, even still today, in so many countries have to experience that. That's the beauty of books, right? You learn so much about, how people are living and how you can be a better person
Yeah,
in
it
itself. Like
humbles you.
you
It
can learn and
humbles
see
you.
similar. Absolutely, absolutely. It really does humble you and just see how people live and be appreciative of, that
Exactly.
okay,
That
yes,
is
we also live.
such a great
Yeah,
point.
and also just appreciate. Yes, and it makes you really appreciate that. Okay, although I'm still living in a patriarchal society, although there are still things that need to be
Same with
fixed in
me.
our
Yeah,
society,
same here.
and
Yeah.
also, yeah, then you just appreciate, okay, I still have these opportunities, so I definitely want to fight for other women so that they can have those opportunities as well. As human beings, we are such complex beings, but at the same time, we are people with a huge heart, like Mariam. Mariam is my favorite character. I loved Laila, but Mariam really, I really felt that, you feel like you want to write a letter to someone and tell them, you know what, you didn't have to
Yeah.
go through all of these things. I really connected with it, even though it's a fictional character. I still felt that, this could be a person. This is probably happening to someone else who's forced into marriage, who has to suffer, but they still showed love to the people. They still she showed love to Lila. Yeah, so it's such an amazing book. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, that is A Thousand Splendid Suns. As someone who's living in the 20th century right now, who's going into, like, I think there's need for progress for women, especially for women to be educated, for women to have the same rights as men have.
Yeah.
We are all human beings. We are all contributing to the society in some
I mean,
way.
it's
Some people
really
may
funny
not think
that we
so.
need to ask for it and we still don't have it.
Right? I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. It's so sad
Yeah.
that we have to every day constantly be fighting for these rights. This is something that should be. It's not just a women right, but it's a human
Yeah.
right. For me, what I've learned about this book in particular is that we should all be willing to, explore other cultures through just a book. For me, I can travel just by just reading a book and to just better understand other cultures and better understand other people's ways of living. And this has really helped me to appreciate, people from
Right.
different parts of the world just by reading a book. So, I absolutely love this book. I think it's
Yeah.
such an amazing book, and
That's
I
really
hope,
amazing.
people can read that book
I
as
think,
well. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I feel your love for travel also comes from a really pure place because you want to really know the culture, you want to understand different stories, and maybe
Mm,
more. We don't know what all
yeah.
the things we learn as we go. And the second book that we are going to talk about today is
Okay, so the second book we're going to talk about is this one. I'm not going to go deep into it because it's such a straightforward book. It doesn't have a story per se, but it has some really great principles that I found. First of all, I'll talk about this title. It says How to Win Friends and Influence People. That quote that says don't judge a book by its cover. It's literally
cover.
what I did when I started this
Oh,
book. So I'm going to just point out a few things that I really took
right.
out from this
I
book. There are a lot, but
I
I'll just
really wanted to
share
ask
with
you to,
you.
read out something.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. when you meet someone for the first time, you are just going to be like, hi, 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 how are you? And some people are all about themselves. From the onset, they'll just start talking about themselves. And what I learned from this book was that you should really show genuine interest in other people, because in a new country, you obviously want to learn about their culture, you want to learn about how they live. So just having that genuine interest in their culture is just so much amazing. It is the individual who is not interested in his fellow men, who has the greatest difficulties in life and provides the greatest injury to others. It is from among such individuals that all human failures spring. I love this
Absolutely.
quote, because it just shows me that as human beings, we should be open to understanding each other. We should be open to just having that genuine interest in that other person, and who knows what you will learn after just hearing that person's story. Like, for example, when I met you, Manisha, for the first time, and for me, I literally honestly had a genuine interest in, like, just your page, what you wrote on your Instagram page, like your what you call those, what you write down. What I just had a genuine interest in what you were about, what you were creating, the stories that you were willing to create, even for for the campaign that we were going to do. But anyway, for me, that's what this book taught me. It taught me to be like, have that genuine interest in people. The next point that I absolutely love, and I think everyone does it every day, to just smile. I know it's such a simple principle, but smiling, just having that genuine interest in someone by smiling, it really makes other people feel more good about
Comfortable.
themselves, feel
Yeah.
more comfortable. Yes. So he says that the effect of a smile is a powerful and even sin. There's so many examples in this book, but I feel like you kind of have to get into the book and read it.
Smile is the only common language that we all speak.
Yes.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
yeah,
So
true.
yeah, and I'll just do two more. I think, yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
other
please.
one was be a good listener. Oh man, I feel like
This is a tough one.
this is a tough. It is a tough one. Even for me, sometimes I feel like I end up not even listening to what the next person is saying. It also goes back to just showing genuine interest in what the other person is all about.
Everything is
It's by listening.
correlated. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it is correlated. You have to, be a good listener to show genuine interest. It really starts by, being someone who's genuinely interested in what you have to say, what this person's life is about. So yeah, for me, I absolutely love that. Yeah.
Listening is something that is really missing out right now.
Oh
You
yeah.
talk about be it with your friends, family, at global level, national level, everywhere. I feel really we should, do the basic things first.
And then the last one was try to understand other people before you judge them. Before you
Wow,
judge them or
great one.
criticize them. I'll read just this quote.
Okay.
Yeah, let me read the quote. It says, I found it enormous value. I found it of enormous value when I can permit myself to understand the other person. The way in which I worded the statement may seem strange to you. Is it necessary to permit oneself to understand another? I think it is. What our first reaction to most of the statements which we hear from other people is an evaluation, or rather a judgment, rather than an understanding of it.
Wow.
So what I loved about this was that he said that, what, as we're listening to someone, we're thinking of an answer, or we're thinking of, okay, no, I'm judging you already. We're not listening to understand, but we're listening to respond, or listening to make a judgment of what this other person. So I really love that he said that try to listen and understand really what this other person is saying before you can just respond. Because I've noticed me myself, I listen to be like, okay, I need to have an answer for this. It's like wired automatically. I
When
need to
the
have an
other
answer.
person is saying something, you have already started thinking, what is going to be my answer to this, and what am I going to say? So you're exactly
Yes,
not listening. You're listening, but exactly not.
exactly. So yeah, I really love what he said here. He just said, what, try and understand what the other person is saying. And then this really creates better relationships. So yeah, this is how to win people. And I don't know if the title of the book is exactly what the principles in the book said, but I did love this book because it really made me a better person. As a person who loves to travel, I think it helps me a lot because I'm going to an unknown place knowing that I have no expectations, but I'm genuinely wanting to learn about the people. And as human beings, I think it will help us, especially with so many world problems that we have today.
Right.
Just trying to understand other people and genuinely wanting to learn more about them will really make a huge difference, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even when you go back to A Thousand Splendid Suns, when you look at these principles and stuff, it's literally when I'm reading that book, I could have so many judgments. Like, why would they
Right.
do this to women? Why would they do that? But because if you're
You're
willing to understand,
and you understand, and you're talking, you're trying to have a conversation. It's like
yes,
your
yes.
logical mind is also working, your creative mind is also working. At the same time, you're learning.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You're learning. So for me, I think that's the beauty of books, really. Books are so
Right.
beautiful in that sense. They can do a whole lot more.
Every person has different taste, every person has different journey, and with books they have different
Absolutely.
relationship. And across the globe, we have some of the amazing thinkers, writers, philosophers, and whatnot. So it's important to have people
Absolutely.
on one platform but offering so much. So thank you so much
You're
for
absolutely.
doing this.
No, thank you.
Yeah. And
No, thank you because you are doing an amazing job. I think what you've started will really open up our eyes to so many things that we wouldn't have learned anywhere else. So you are doing an amazing job.
so
This
sweet
is
of
such
you.
a great show that you're going to do. I'm looking forward to more episodes
Yeah,
of,
me too.
the other guests that are going to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Okay,
amazing.
so before I let you go, Tero, just tell me about the
Yeah.
things that you do, about your channel, where all we can find you, about everything.
No, absolutely. Thank you. So my name is Tariro. As she said, my name means hope. You might want to know what
Wow.
it means. It means hope. I'm from Zimbabwe. By profession, I am a researcher, international development worker, but I'm currently not practicing that now. It's on hold. Currently, I am a travel content creator. I plan travel itineraries. I am a travel writer. From time to time, I do write articles for other people, for magazines or newspapers. And I also have a YouTube channel with my sister called Afro Nomads. We
Yeah,
love to
shout out to
document.
Chi. Shout out to Chi, although she does not
Thank
need any shout out, but still.
yeah, so my sister, our aim for our YouTube channel is to document travel in Zimbabwe and Africa specifically, because the reason was that there's not enough information about Africa. There is a
Yeah.
bad rap on African countries, so we just wanted to show the beauty of African countries, and hopefully, people will be inspired to travel the continent without any reservations. So
Right.
yeah, that is mostly about me.
Yeah, I really admire you both, and I hope I
Thank
also get to
you.
connect with Chi as well. Thank you so much for saying yes and coming on this show, and particularly, to give it a start. And it was the first episode, and I hope people like it. So, yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.